Hi, folks, and welcome to another episode of America on Trial. Today, we're discussing the critical question of what will Donald Trump's role be in the election of 2024. With me is Adam Lamparello, a law professor at Georgia College. I am Jeff Teichert, Assistant Attorney General for the state of Utah, though the opinions I express in this are only my own. Adam, what's going to happen in 2024? Is Trump going to run?
I think Trump's going to run again. I think Trump's going to win. Let's go back to Trump's presidency. Apart from the fact that everybody in the swamp tried to ruin this man, from Jim Comey to Peter Strzok to the Justice Department, let's look at the facts. Number one, African American and Hispanic employment was the lowest under Trump. Number two, Trump's tax cuts benefited working families tremendously. Number three, Trump increased our standing in the world. There was no war under Trump. There was no ridiculous withdrawal like there was under Biden. There was a solid foreign policy, a solid economy, and solid opportunity for marginalized groups. I think Trump's going to run again. I think he's going to win, and I think it's going to be great for the United States.
Well, I think in addition to some of the achievements you cited, there were a number of Middle East peace agreements. He had Iran in check. He had China more in check. And now I think with the president's withdrawal from Afghanistan, people don't take the United States seriously internationally, and there's even questions about whether we would defend Taiwan if it were invaded by mainland China. So I think there's a lot of problems there.
Well, not to mention, we have problems with inflation. We have problems with migration. Now, let me be honest. People may not like Trump personally, and that's understandable. He, posted a lot of tweets that were offensive. I get that. But when you look at the results, what Trump did for the American people, there is no question that America was greater in 2019 and 2020 than it is now. We didn't have inflation. We didn't have record gas prices. We had the lowest unemployment for African Americans and Hispanics. We had a historic tax cut. We had stronger foreign policy. We had a president that was, in fact, making America great again. So even if you don't like him, you should like the results.
Well, and that's kind of where I was. I voted for him holding my nose the second time because I liked what he had done for the country. Now, I think there's another interesting point to be made here. We can talk about Governor DeSantis in a second, but I think the reason Trump won back in 2016 is that you can't beat something with nothing. And Trump actually stood for something. Hillary Clinton was kind of all over the map, and it seemed like she was trying to be, Bill Clinton 2.0 without the charisma. And
she was not Bill Clinton 2.0, 1.0, or negative 1.0. She was a terrible candidate. And here's the thing. America was greater under Donald Trump than it is under Joe Biden, or it would have been under Hillary Clinton. And when you look at the facts, you have to ask yourself, if I don't like Donald Trump, is that enough of a reason to vote against him? When Donald Trump improved the economy, gas prices were at record lows, unemployment was at record lows, the economy was booming, the border was secure. This is what Donald Trump did. So love him or hate him, you can't disagree that what he did, in fact, was making America greater again.
Well, I agree with you on that. The problem you have with Trump for the Republicans is, on the one hand, he's got a very solid core base of support. He's going to be difficult to beat within the party. Can he win a general election again, or has he created so much animosity with centrist voters that he won't be able to win them again?
Well,
I think that's an open question.
I would like to ask centrist voters, are you better off under Joe Biden than you were under Trump? I'd like to ask African American voters, are you better under Trump or Biden? I want to ask Hispanic voters, are you better under Trump or Biden? I want to ask voters, is the border more secure under Trump or Biden? I want to ask voters, are gas prices lower under Trump or Biden? The answer to all these questions is Trump. And if people care about their own economic well-being and about the future of this country, then Trump is going to win in 2024, and he's going to make America greater again.
Now, what about Governor DeSantis? Does he have fewer negatives than Trump? Can he beat Trump in the Republican Party? Because I would argue that this Republican Party is Trump's party right now.
I agree with you. It is Trump's party, and I think DeSantis should be his running mate because DeSantis is a fantastic leader. His leadership in Florida, from the economy to COVID, has been fantastic. He is a man of character, morals, and integrity. However, when you look at Trump's record as president, whether it pertains to the economy, taxes, the border, unemployment rates, the Supreme Court, Trump delivered, and he did make America greater. And I think with DeSantis on the ticket, they together will make America greater again. But I think at this time, it's still Trump's party, and it's Trump's election to win. And for all those voters out there who may detest Trump, I would ask you, what do you pay when you go to the pump every morning? What do you pay when you buy food now? What do you pay in taxes now? It's all worse under Biden. If you want to be better as an individual, as a society, as a country, and regain our respect in the world, Trump is your man in 2024.
You know, earlier on there, you mentioned Hispanic and black voters. And I remember when Trump was running the first time around, he went out to some of the inner cities where a lot of those minority voters are. And he basically said, give me a shot. What the hell have you got to lose? And he basically was saying, you know what? The Democrats have been promising you the moon, the stars, and everything with it for decades. And what have they delivered? And he did deliver record employment numbers among those communities. So, and we've seen his poll numbers steadily rising among minorities.
Well, Jeff, I would suggest to you, Jeff, that there's a reason for that. It's not just that unemployment was at record lows, which it was under Trump. It's that median household income was increasing substantially. It was that taxes were being lowered for the working class. It was that the border was being secured and that pride in America was being restored. Now, I don't like Trump's tweets. I don't like the nonsense that Trump spews on Twitter. But I also know that at the end of the day, what he did for individuals, what he did for marginalized communities, what he did for this country was fantastic. And when you compare it to what Joe Biden has done in less than 2 years as president, there can be no doubt Trump in 2024.
Okay, two questions about Biden. First, will he be able to hang January 6th around Donald Trump's neck in a general election?
No, because January 6th was not an insurrection, nor was it an incitement to violence. And anybody who claims that knows neither the Constitution nor the law. They're simply using it to prevent Trump from running again. And I would point to Liz Cheney, who on the January 6th committee, a committee that permitted no cross-examination of witnesses, a committee that permitted no witnesses with contrary views from appearing, a committee that had no respect for due process. She lost by almost 40 points in Wyoming. The American people are smarter than these.
Her father is a legend.
And the American people have common sense. And they know that under Trump, they were doing better than they are or ever will be under Biden.
Okay, second Biden question here. I have to think that the leaders in the Democratic Party, Chuck Schumer on down, are looking at this president and the seeming frailty of his mind and his inability to put together a coherent sentence in many speeches and things like this. And he is already the oldest president in history by a wide margin, actually. I don't have any problem with an older guy or woman being in office if they have their faculties. But I really have to wonder if somebody isn't going to be tasked with the unpleasant responsibility of going into the Oval Office and telling the president, look, Joe, you can't run again. I mean, you know, when Richard Nixon resigned, they picked Al Haig to go in and give him the bad news. Look, sir, there's no way out of this. You've got to go.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, Jeff. Richard Nixon was one of the best presidents this country has ever seen. And he was over a third-rate burglary. And in his place, you had Ford and Carter, who were among the worst presidents in history. And with Biden, you have the same thing. What the American voter needs to look at is the results. Under Biden, you have inflation out of control, gas prices out of control, increased taxes, the border is not secure. The question is simple. Were you better off with Trump than you were under Biden? And the answer to any reasonable person is under Trump.
Do you think that someone will be tasked with the responsibility of walking into the Oval Office and telling this president, you can't run again?
Probably, and that's a very sad statement, because you would think Joe Biden, who has flip-flopped on nearly every legislative issue in the last 30 years, would have the common sense, as would his wife, Jill Biden, to realize they shouldn't be running again. They're not good for the country, and they're not good for the Democratic Party. But it seems like they don't have that wisdom. So yes, I believe he will be forced out of the Democratic Party into a much-needed retirement, but it's not going to help the Democrats. Trump's going to win in 2024, and we're going to make America greater again.
All right, so interesting thoughts about whether Trump is able to come back, whether the president survives a challenge from a former president. That would be if Trump was reelected in this way, he would be the first president since Grover Cleveland to serve non-consecutive terms. A little bit of interesting history. Adam, I'm going to give you the last word. What's going to happen in 2024? Or any
Trump
surprises?
Is going to run, and Trump is going to win. Let me ask the American voter, do you want Anthony Fauci, Joe Biden, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, and Rashida Tlaib? Or do you want Trump, DeSantis, and Nikki Haley? The answer is clear. Trump wins in 2024.
So this wraps up another episode of America on Trial. Thank you for watching. For today's hot take, we're going to ask the question whether kids should go on to college or drop out or go to trade tech, or what's the answer to that?
Stop going to college and incurring debt. Go to a trade school, a technical school, become a pilot, an electrician, a plumber. You'll make more money, you'll have less debt, and you'll be way happier.
And that's what Adam wishes he had done.